Captain Taeho Kim stood tall on the bridge of the Earthship Pathfinder. The large viewing window showed the huge space station ahead. It was shaped like a wheel with 12 spokes. Each spoke was for one of the alien groups in the Galactic Council. "Captain, we are ready to dock," said the pilot. Taeho nodded. His dark uniform was crisp and perfect. On his chest was the blue and green Earth patch. He had waited for this day his whole life. "Take us in slowly," he said. "This is humanity's first time meeting the Council. Let's make a good first impression." The Pathfinder was not a warship. It was made for talking, not fighting. It carried scientists, language experts, and peacemakers. Earth had only learned about the Galactic Council 5 months ago. The aliens had been watching humans for decades. They said humans were finally ready to join the wider galaxy. Dr. Jisoo Park walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's main scientist and language expert. "Captain, I've studied all the Council data they sent us," she said. "Something seems strange." "What is it?" asked Taeho. "They're being too nice. New species usually have to prove themselves, but they're treating us like they need us." Taeho thought about this. Maybe they do. But for what? The Pathfinder docked with a soft thud. Taeho and Jisoo led a team of 5 others to the main door. They all wore their best uniforms. The door hissed open. 3 aliens waited for them. One was tall with skin that looked like blue crystal. One had 6 arms and eyes that moved in different directions. The third had feathers in bright colors. "Welcome, humans of Earth," said the crystal being. Its voice came from a small box on its chest. "I am Narl of the Valari. These are my fellow council members. We are pleased to welcome the human species to the galactic community." Taeho bowed slightly. "Thank you for having us. I am Captain Taeho Kim. This is Dr. Jisoo Park, our science and language officer." The aliens led them down a long hallway. The walls were made of something like glass, but stronger. Through them, Taeho could see stars and distant planets. "The Galactic Council has 12 member species," said Narl. "Each has been part of our alliance for at least 10,000 Earth years. You humans are the first new members in over 5 centuries." The hallway opened into a huge room. It was round with a table in the middle. Around the table sat 9 more aliens, each very different from the others. Some had wings, some had scales, some had too many eyes or not enough. All turned to look at the humans. "The Earth delegation," announced Narul. There was a moment of silence. Then all the aliens stood up. Some bowed. Some put their hands or claws to their chests. It was clearly a sign of great respect. Jisoo leaned close to Taeho. "This is not normal," she whispered. "They're treating us like we're important, very important." The welcome ceremony was long. Each alien spoke about their own world and culture. They gave gifts, strange plants, old books written in alien languages, small machines that did things Taeho couldn't understand. The humans gave gifts too, music, art, and seeds from earth plants. During a break, Taeho walked around the room. He looked at the aliens more closely. Something was bothering him, but he couldn't put his finger on it. An alien with wings like a dragonfly approached him. "First time seeing so many species at once?" it asked in a buzzing voice. "Yes," said Taeho. "You're all so different. Yet all the same in some ways," said the alien. "All council species evolved to hide, to run, to work together. None of us evolved as..." It paused. "As what?" asked Taeho. "As hunters," said the alien. Then it quickly flew away. Taeho frowned. He looked around the room again with new eyes. The Valari were tall but thin, with no visible muscles. The 6-armed aliens had eyes that could see in all directions, good for watching for danger. The feathered ones had wings. The dragonfly being could fly quickly. None had sharp teeth. None had strong claws. None looked like they had evolved to hunt. Humans had. Later, at a large dinner, Taeho sat next to Narul. The food was strange but good. The Valari didn't eat meat. "Your species is unique," said Narul. You evolved as social predators. You hunted in groups. You planned. You used tools to kill. Teho was surprised by the direct words. Many species on Earth hunt, he said. But not many build spaceships, said Narul. In the galaxy, intelligence usually evolves from being hunted, not from hunting. Prey animals need to be smart to survive. Predators just need to be strong. But we're not just predators, said Teho. Humans are complex. Yes, said Narul. That's what makes you special. You have the instincts of hunters but the minds of builders. You compete but also work together. We've watched your wars and your peace treaties, your violence and your kindness. Teho didn't know what to say. He felt both proud and worried. After dinner, Jisoo found Teho. Her face was pale. Captain, I need to show you something, she said. They walked to a quiet corner of the room. One of the Valari took me aside, she whispered. She gave me this. Jisoo showed Teho a small device, like a memory stick. She said, Your kind are the only ones who might save us all. Save them from what? Asked Teho. I don't know. But she seemed scared. Back in their quarters on the Pathfinder, Teho, Jisoo, and their team looked at the data on the device. It showed reports from faraway star systems, colonies going dark, ships disappearing. Strange signals picked up and then nothing. Something is happening at the edge of Council space, said Jisoo. Something bad. But why give this to us? Asked Teho. We're new here. We know nothing about the galaxy. Their team scientist, Dr. Hyun, looked up from his screen. Maybe that's why. Maybe they need a fresh view, or maybe what? Asked Jisoo. Maybe they need predators, said Dr. Hyun. People who know how to fight. People who understand hunting and being hunted. Teho looked out the ship's window at the stars. Humans had always thought of themselves as the top of the food chain. Now they were in a much bigger ocean with unknown creatures. Send a message to Earth, said Teho. Tell them what we've found. And ask them to send more ships, not just talking ships, fighting ships too. Jisoo looked worried. Do you think we'll need them? Teho thought about the fear in the aliens' eyes, the way they had welcomed humans like saviors, not newcomers. I hope not, he said. But something tells me that humanity is about to face its greatest test, and we need to be ready. As the ship's lights dimmed for the night cycle, Teho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what Narul had said. Humans were social predators. They had evolved to hunt, to kill, to survive. For thousands of years, humans had tried to move past those instincts, to be peaceful, to work together. But what if the galaxy needed those predator instincts now? What if humans were the only ones who could face whatever was coming from the darkness between the stars? Every species has predators, Teho whispered to himself. I wonder what hunts in the dark of space. He didn't know it yet, but soon he would find out. And when he did, humans would have to face not just the galaxy's predators but their own violent past. 3 months had passed since the first meeting with the Galactic Council. The Earthship Pathfinder was no longer alone. 5 more human ships had joined it at the Council station. Some were science ships, some were warships, just in case. Captain, Teho Kim sat in a meeting room with alien leaders. They were talking about trade and sharing knowledge, but his mind was elsewhere. In the last 3 months, 3 more alien outposts had gone silent. A soft beep came from his pocket device. He looked down at it. The message was from Jisoo. Emergency. Come to comm room now. Teho stood up. I'm sorry. I need to step out. For a moment. He walked quickly to the communication room. Jisoo was there with Do-Yeon Kang, the ship's science expert who had arrived on one of the new ships. What's wrong? Asked Teho. We just got a distress call, said Jisoo. She looked worried. A Valari research outpost, they're under attack. Teho felt his heart beat faster. By what? They don't know. The message cut off. Jisoo played the recording. A scared Valari voice spoke quickly. Something is here. They move like shadows. They're breaking through the... Then silence. Where is the outpost? Asked Tai-Ho. About 6 hours away at top speed, said Do-Yan. It's on a small moon. They were studying old ruins there. Tai-Ho made his decision quickly. Tell the council we're responding to the distress call. Get Hanbin and a security team ready. 6 hours later, the Pathfinder approached the moon. It was small and rocky with no air to breathe. The outpost was a dome with smaller buildings around it. No response to our calls, said the communication officer. Scan for life signs, ordered Tai-Ho. Do-Yan looked at the scanner screen. 1. Life sign, very weak, inside the main dome. Tai-Ho turned to Han-Bin Lee, his security chief who had come on one of the new ships. Han-Bin was strong and had been a soldier before joining the space program. Get your team ready, said Tai-Ho. Full spacesuits and weapons. Jisoo and I will come too. The landing shuttle touched down near the dome. Through the shuttle windows, Tai-Ho could see that the dome was damaged. Something had torn through its outer wall. That's not weapon damage, said Han-Bin, looking at the torn metal. That looks like claw marks. The team put on their spacesuits and checked their air supply. Then they walked across the moon's surface to the dome. The airlock was broken. They had to use cutting tools to get inside. Inside, the lights were off. The team turned on their suit lights. What they saw made them stop in shock. The dome was destroyed inside. Not just broken, but torn apart. Tables were crushed. Walls were ripped open. And there was blood. Blue Valari blood, frozen in the cold of space. What could do this? Whispered Jisoo. Something strong, said Hanbin. Something angry. They moved deeper into the dome, following the signal from the life sign. They found a sealed inner room. The door was dented from the outside, but it had held. Hanbin used a code device to open the door. Inside, huddled in a corner, was a young Valari. She was shaking with fear. It's okay, said Jisoo, kneeling down. We're from Earth. We're here to help. The Valari looked up, her crystal eyes wide. You're human? Yes, said Jisoo. What's your name? Elta, said the Valari. Are they gone? Who? Asked Tai-Ho. What attacked you? Elta shook her head. I don't know what they were. They came, without warning. They were bigger than you. They moved so fast they talked to each other with clicks and growls. Were they animals? Asked Hanbin. No, said Elta. They used tools. They worked together. They were hunting us. She looked at the humans with fear and wonder. They were intelligent predators, like you. Back on the council station, the news of the attack spread quickly. The council members were scared. Some wanted to run away to safer parts of the galaxy. Others wanted to fight, but didn't know how. Tai-Ho was called to meet with the council leaders. They sat around a table, looking worried. Captain Kim, said Narul, the Valari leader, we need to tell you something about the history of our galaxy. A large screen lit up on the wall. It showed star maps and ancient pictures. 50,000 years ago, said Narul, a species ruled this part of the galaxy. They were called the Mauer. They were apex predators who became intelligent not to build or create, but to hunt better. The screen showed images of tall, strong beings with armor-like skin and long claws. They had eyes that faced forward, like human eyes, predator eyes. The Mauer spread across many star systems, continued Narul. They didn't build great cities or write beautiful songs. They hunted, they conquered. They took what they wanted. Other species were either food or slaves to them. What happened to them? Asked Tai-Ho. They disappeared, said another council. Member, the one with 6 arms. About 49,000 years ago. Some say they killed each other in a great war. Some say they died from a disease. We don't know, but they vanished. And you think they're back? Asked Tai-Ho. We fear it, said Narul. The attacks follow the same pattern as old stories about Mauer raids, and Elta's description matches them. In another part of the station, Do-yeon was studying samples from the attack site. She had found small bits of skin and blood from the attackers. Now she was looking at their DNA. She gasped. The pattern on her screen was familiar. Too familiar. She ran to find Jisoo and Hanbin, who were talking to Elta in the medical bay. "I need to show you something," said Do-yeon out of breath. "It's about the attackers." She showed them her screen. "This is the DNA from the creatures that attacked the outpost. And this," she pulled up another image, "is ancient human DNA from about 50,000 years ago." Jisoo's eyes widened. "They're similar." "More than similar," said Do-yeon. "They share key markers. These attackers are related to humans somehow." Hanbin looked shocked. "Are you saying that humans and these Maor are the same species?" "Not the same," said Do-yeon, "but connected. Like distant cousins, maybe. Or like humans and the creatures we evolved from." Later that day, Taeho called his team together in a private room on the Pathfinder. Jisoo, Do-yeon, and Hanbin sat around a table with serious faces. "The council knew," said Taeho. "They knew humans were connected to the Maor. That's why they watched us for so long. That's why they were so happy to meet us." "They need us to fight our own ancestors," said Hanbin. Jisoo shook her head. "But how are humans and Maor connected? Did we evolve from them? Did they visit Earth long ago?" Do-yeon had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke. "I found something else. In the Council's science database." She showed them her screen. Records of planets where Maor lived. One of the planets matches Earth exactly, but the records call it Maor Colony 6. A heavy silence fell over the room. "So Earth was a Maor colony," said Taeho slowly. "And we are what became of the Maors who stayed behind." "We evolved," said Jisoo. "We changed. We became less violent." "Did we?" asked Hanbin. "Look at human history. Wars, conquest, hunting animals to extinction. We still have those Maor instincts. But we also create art," said Jisoo. "We care for the weak. We work together." Taeho looked out the window at the stars. What if some Maor didn't die out? What if they just went to sleep, waiting for the right time to wake up? Hanbin stood up suddenly. "Captain, I need to show you something. I found it in the Council's restricted files." He pulled up a document on the screen. "Some Council scientists think the Maor might have used hibernation technology. They might have programmed themselves to wake up if their territory was ever taken by others. And now that the Council has spread into their old space," started Jisoo. "They're waking up," finished Taeho. "And they're angry." The room was quiet. Again. Each person was thinking about what this meant. Humans were facing their own past, a violent past that had come back with claws and teeth and hunger. "What do we do now?" asked Do-yeon. Taeho stood up. His face was serious but determined. "We do what humans have always done. We adapt, we survive, and we protect those who can't protect themselves." He looked at each member of his team. "The Council species don't understand predators. They can't fight the Maor. But we can. Because, deep down, we know how they think. We've spent our whole history fighting the predator inside us." Hanbin nodded. "And now we use that knowledge to fight the real thing." The Pathfinder's communication system beeped. An urgent message was coming in. "Another attack," said Jisoo, reading the screen. "A bigger one. A whole colony this time." She looked up with worried eyes. "They're getting closer to Council space." The hunt had begun. And now humans had to become the hunters once more. The Council chamber was loud with scared voices. Representatives from 12 alien species argued about what to do. Some wanted to run away to the other side of the galaxy. Others wanted to use their biggest weapons to destroy the attacked areas, even if some of their own people might still be alive there. Captain Taeho Kim stood quietly watching. Beside him, Jisoo Park took notes on a small device. "Silence," called out Narul, the Valari leader. The room grew quiet. Fighting among ourselves will not help. We need a plan. A bird-like alien with bright red feathers spoke up. Our weapons are not made for war. They are made for defense and safety. We cannot fight these monsters. Tejo stepped forward. The council has helped my people join the galactic community. Now let us help you. All eyes turned to him. You brought humans into the council because you saw something in us, continued Tejo. Something that might help against the Maur. We come from predators, yes, but we've spent our history learning to be more than that. What are you suggesting? Asked Gnarl. Let humans lead the defense, said Tejo. We understand how predators think because we once thought that way too. We can predict what the Maur will do next. The council members looked at each other. Some nodded, some looked unsure. Humans have fought wars, added Hanbin Li, standing next to Tejo. We don't like it, but we know how to do it, and we know how to work together against a common enemy. After much talk, the council agreed. They would follow the human plan. Back on the Pathfinder, Tejo met with his team and military leaders from the other human ships. They gathered around a large table with a star map on it. The attacks are happening here, here, and here, said Tejo, pointing to red marks on the map. They're moving inward toward the center of council space. But not in a straight line, said Jisoo. It's more like a spiral. Do-Yeon Kang had been quiet, studying the map. Now she spoke up. I think I know where they're coming from. She pointed to a spot on the map. This star system has a planet that matches old records of a main Maur world. If they went into hibernation, this is where they would do it. Hanbin looked at the planet's details. It's a harsh world. Very hot on one side, very cold on the other. Perfect for underground bases. Then that's where we need to go, said Tejo. We find the source and stop it. They made a plan. A fleet of ships from Earth and the Council would go to the Maur world. They would try to talk first. If that didn't work, they would have to fight. 3 weeks later, the fleet reached the Maur planet. It was just as the record showed. One side always facing its sun, burning hot. The other side in darkness, freezing cold. But in the narrow band between light and dark, sensors showed underground structures. Life signs, reported the sensor officer. Thousands of them, moving around down there. Tejo looked at the screen. They're waking up, more and more of them. Can we talk to them? Asked Jisoo. Maybe we can explain that we come in peace. We can try, said Tejo, but be ready in case they don't want to talk back. They sent messages down to the planet in every language they knew, including the clicks and growls that Elta had described. At first there was no answer. Then a rough voice responded. It spoke in an old version of a human language, mixed with strange sounds. You enter Maur space, it said. You die now. We didn't know this was your space, Tejo responded. We want to talk, not fight. There was a pause. Then, show yourselves, on screen. Tejo nodded to the communication officer. A video link opened. On the screen appeared a face that made everyone gasp. It was like a human face, but not quite. The skin was thicker, with plates like armor over the forehead and cheeks. The teeth were longer and sharper. The eyes were larger, with pupils that could open very wide in the dark. But the shape of the face, the number of eyes and ears, it was too close to human to ignore. The Maur leader looked at Tejo and the other humans. Its eyes widened in surprise. Then its face twisted with anger. Traitors, it growled. Weaklings, you stole our birthright. What do you mean? Asked Tejo. We are from Earth. We've never met your kind before. The Maur leader snarled. Earth, Colony 6. The weak ones. The ones who chose to be prey instead of predators. It leaned closer to the screen. You were supposed to keep our ways, to stay strong. Instead, you became soft. Now we will take back what is ours. The link cut off. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Multiple launches from the planet's surface, called out the sensor officer. Ships, organic ships, They're headed our way. All ships, defensive positions, ordered Tejo. Try not to fire first, but be ready. The Mauer ships were like nothing they had seen before. They were living things grown rather than built. They moved faster than should be possible, and they attacked without warning. The battle was short and one-sided. 3 council ships were destroyed before they could even turn to escape. The rest of the fleet retreated, jumping to safety far from the Mauer world. Back at the council station, leaders met again to discuss what had happened. The mood was dark. "They hate us," said Jisoo. "Especially humans. They see us as traitors to their kind." "They called Earth Colony 6, said Doyon. "It fits with what we found in the old records." Earth was a Mauer outpost, but something happened there. The Mauer on Earth changed over time. They evolved into us. "And the Mauer see that as weakness," added Hanbin. "They believe we should have stayed predators, like them." Tejo looked at the star map, now updated with the Mauer ship movements. "They're not attacking random targets anymore. They're headed straight for Council space. And after that, Earth," said Jisoo quietly. "They want to punish us for changing, for becoming what they see as weak." In the days that followed, more reports came in of Mauer attacks. Their ships were faster than anything the Council had. Their weapons were stronger, and the Mauer themselves were terrifying fighters, 9 feet tall with natural armor and claws that could tear through metal. The Council species were losing hope. None of them had evolved to fight. None of them understood the mind of a predator, but humans did. Tejo called a meeting with his team and the Earth military leaders. "We need a new plan," he said. "We can't match the Mauer in strength or speed, but we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" asked Hanbin. "Creativity," said Tejo. "Cooperation, the ability to see past our instincts and think in new ways. The Mauer are stuck in their old patterns. They only know how to hunt and kill. We've learned to do so much more." Jisoo nodded. "They still think like the predators they were 50,000 years ago. But humans have changed. We still have those instincts inside us, but we've learned to control them, to use them only when needed. And now we need them," said Hanbin. Doyon had been working on something. She showed them her screen. "I've been studying the Mauer DNA. It's very close to human DNA, but with key differences. They're stronger, faster, their senses are sharper, but their brains are focused on hunting, not on working together or creating new things." "How does that help us?" asked Tejo. Doyon took a deep breath. "I think I can create a treatment, something that would enhance humans temporarily, give us some of the Mauer's physical abilities without changing who we are inside." The room was silent as everyone thought about this. "You're talking about making us more like them," said Hanbin finally. "Bringing out the predator that still lives in our DNA." "Just the physical aspects," said Doyon. "Strength, speed, senses. Not the mindset. We'd still be us, still human, just enhanced." Tejo looked at each person in the room. "This is a big step. We've spent our history trying to move away from violence. Now we're talking about embracing the very things we've tried to evolve past. Sometimes you need to remember where you came from to know where you're going," said Jisoo quietly. The conversation went on for hours. In the end, they decided that Doyon would continue her work. The treatment would be voluntary. Only those who chose to take it would become enhanced. As the meeting ended, an urgent message came in. The Mauer fleet had changed course. They were no longer headed for the Council Center. They were headed directly for Earth. "They want to wipe out what they see as the weak version of themselves," said Tejo. "Us." Hanbin stood up. "Then we have no choice. We need the enhancement. We need to remember how to be predators again." "Not just predators," said Tejo. "Something better. Something the Mauer never became. Predators with conscience. Hunters who know when not to hunt." He looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth, so far away and now in danger. "We've faced our past before," he said. "Now we face it again. But this time our past has teeth and claws and wants us dead. Earth had 1 month before the Mauer fleet would reach it. 1 month to prepare. 1 month to find a way to stop the ancient predators who saw humans as weak versions of themselves. On the Pathfinder, Do-Yeon Kang worked day and night on her enhancement treatment. She had help from the best scientists from Earth and the Council. They tested it on cells, then on small animals. Finally, it was ready for humans. Captain Tae-ho Kim called a meeting with his closest team, Jisoo Park, Hanbin Lee, and Do-Yeon. "Tell. About the treatment," said Tae-ho. Do-Yeon showed them a small device like a medical injector. "It activates dormant parts of our DNA, the parts we share with the Mauer. It makes us stronger, faster, and sharper. All our senses will work better. But it only lasts for about a week." "And the side effects?" asked Jisoo. Do-Yeon looked down. "You'll feel more aggressive. The predator instincts will be stronger. You'll have to fight to control them." "Will we still be ourselves?" asked Hanbin. "Will we still be human?" "Yes," said Do-Yeon firmly. "The treatment only changes your body, not your mind or your heart. But you'll feel the pull of those old instincts, like hunger or anger, but stronger." Tae-ho nodded slowly. "I'll go first," he said. "I need to know what it feels like before I ask others to take it." Do-Yeon gave him the injector. "Press it against your arm and push the button. It will hurt for a minute." Tae-ho did as she said. Pain shot through his body like fire in his veins. He fell to his knees, gasping. Then the pain faded. He stood, up feeling strange. "How do you feel?" asked Jisoo. Tae-ho took a deep breath. The air was full of scents he had never noticed before. He could smell the worry on his friends. He could hear their hearts beating. He felt strong, alive, powerful, and hungry, not for food, but for action, for the hunt. "I feel..." He paused, fighting to find the right words. "I feel awake, like I was half asleep before." He looked at his hands. They seemed the same, but he could feel the strength in them. He knew he could crush metal if he wanted to. "I'm still me," he said. "But there's a voice inside me now, an old voice. It wants to hunt." Hanbin stepped forward. "Then I'm next," he said. "We'll need that hunting instinct to fight the Mauer." One by one, volunteers from Earth's fleet took the treatment. 200 soldiers, pilots, and officers became enhanced. They trained to control their new strength and speed. They learned to use their sharper senses. And they learned to quiet the hunting voice that whispered to them in the dark. As Earth prepared its defenses, the Mauer fleet moved closer. The Council sent ships to help, but everyone knew the real fight would be between human and Mauer, predator versus predator. When the Mauer fleet reached the edge of Earth's solar system, they were met by a line of human and Council ships. The largest human ship, the Defender, led the line. Tae-ho, Jisoo, Hanbin, and Do-Yeon were on board. "All ships ready," said Tae-ho, looking at the screen showing the Mauer fleet. Their ships were living things, with shells like armored skin. They moved like sea creatures through space. "The Mauer ships are faster than ours," said Hanbin. "And their hulls can heal damage, but they're not as smart about working together. Each ship fights for itself like a lone hunter." "Then we hunt as a pack," said Tae-ho, "just like our earliest ancestors did." He turned to the communication officer. "Send the signal to all ships. Plan Wolf is a go." The human ships moved in groups of 3, surrounding individual Mauer ships and attacking from different angles. The Mauer were faster, but the humans were smarter. They used the gravity of planets and moons to slingshot their ships at high speed, catching the Mauer by surprise. The battle raged across the solar system. Ships exploded in silent bursts of light. Debris floated in the emptiness of space. On the bridge of the Defender, Tae-ho watched the battle with his enhanced eyes. He could see details that normal humans would miss. He could sense patterns in the Mauer movements. "They're protecting something," he said suddenly. "Look how they move around that large ship in the center. That must be their leader's ship. If we can capture it, maybe we can end this fight," said Jisoo. Hanbin nodded. I'll lead a boarding team. We can use the small stealth ships to get close. Tai-ho looked at his friend. It's too dangerous. That's why I should go, said Hanbin. I'm the best fighter we have, and you're needed here to command the fleet. After a moment, Tai-ho agreed. Hanbin chose 20 enhanced soldiers for his team. They boarded 3 small ships that were hard to see on sensors. While the main battle kept the Maor busy, these ships slipped through the chaos toward the Maor leader's ship. Hanbin's ship reached the Maor vessel first. They found a spot where they could cut through the living hull. The Maor ship was warm inside and felt alive, like being inside a giant animal. The walls pulsed with something like blood moving through them. Stay sharp, whispered Hanbin to his team. The Maor can see in the dark better than we can, even with our enhancements. They moved through the organic corridors of the ship, following the flow of energy toward what they hoped was the control center. Twice they had to hide as Maor guards passed by. The Maor were huge, 9 feet tall, with thick armor-like skin and long claws. They moved quickly and talked to each other with clicks and growls. Finally, Hanbin's team reached a large chamber in the center of the ship. Through a gap in the wall, they could see several Maor gathered around a larger one. This bigger Maor had more armor plates and red markings on its skin. It had to be the leader, the apex as the Maor called it. We take the leader alive if we can, said Hanbin. On my mark, now! The team burst into the chamber, weapons ready. The Maor were surprised for only a second. Then they attacked. With terrible speed and strength, the fight was brutal. Even with their enhancements, the humans were smaller and lighter than the Maor. But they had weapons and worked together better. 3 humans would team up against 1 Maor, attacking from different sides. Hanbin fought his way toward the apex. The leader watched him come, its eyes cold and calculating. When Hanbin got close, the apex moved with shocking speed. It knocked Hanbin's weapon away and grabbed him by the throat. Weak copy, it growled in its rough voice. You try to be like us, but you are prey wearing predator skin. Hanbin couldn't breathe. His vision started to go dark. With his last strength, he pressed a button on his wrist device. Now! He gasped. The chamber shook as the defender fired a special weapon at the Maor ship. It didn't cause damage, but it sent out a signal that confused the ship's living systems. The lights went out. The walls stopped pulsing. The apex dropped Hanbin as it tried to reconnect with its ship. Taking advantage of the confusion, the human team retreated, pulling their wounded with them. They made it back to their small ships and escaped the Maor vessel. Back on the Defender, the medical team treated the wounded. Hanbin had deep cuts from the apex's claws, but he would live. What did you learn? Asked Tai-ho. They're strong, said Hanbin, wincing as a doctor treated his wounds. Stronger than us, even with the enhancements. But they don't work together well. Each one wants to get the kill for itself. Did you hear how they communicate? Asked Jisoo. Yes, said Hanbin. But it's not just sounds. They use smells too, like animals marking territory. The apex gives off a scent that tells the others it's the boss. Jisoo's eyes lit up. That's it. Their communication is part sound, part smell. If we can copy the apex's scent and mix it with confusion signals, we could break their chain of command, finished Tai-ho. Make them fight each other instead of us. Jisoo and Do-yeon went to work right away. They used samples of Maor tissue to create a copy of the apex's command scent. Then they mixed it with what humans called fight-or-flight chemicals, the smells of fear and anger. As the battle continued, human ships released the scent mixture near Maor ships. The effect was immediate. Maor ships began to attack each other. Confusion spread through their fleet. Seeing the chance, Tai-ho ordered a full attack. The human and council ships pressed forward, pushing the confused Maor fleet back. Finally, after hours of fighting, the Maor began to retreat. Their once perfect formation was broken. Ship by ship, they jumped away from Earth's solar system. On the Defender's bridge, tired officers cheered. Earth was safe for now, but Tai-ho didn't join the celebration. He knew this wasn't over. The Maor would be back, and next time they would be ready for human tricks. "We won a battle," he said to Jisoo. "But not the war." Jisoo nodded. "At least, we know we can fight them. We can use their own predator nature against them." Taeho felt the enhanced strength in his body, the sharpness of his senses, and he felt the hunting voice inside him, quieter now but still there. "We became more like them to fight them," he said. "I wonder what that makes us now." "Still human," said Jisoo firmly. "We use the predator's tools, but for a predator's opposite purpose, to protect, not to hunt. That's what makes us different from them." Taeho hoped she was right, because the real test was still to come. 2 weeks after the battle at Earth, the Maor had not returned. The enhanced humans still had their powers. Doyen said the treatment was lasting longer than expected. No one knew if this was good or bad. Captain Taeho Kim stood in front of a large window on the council station. He watched ships come and go. Some were being fixed after the battle. Some were new ships, built to fight if the Maor came back. "You look worried," said Jisoo Park, walking up beside him. "The Maor will return," said Taeho. "They're predators. They don't give up on a hunt." "We'll be ready," said Jisoo. "Earth is sending more ships. The council species are learning to fight better, and we still have our enhancements." Taeho nodded, but his face stayed serious. "We can't keep fighting forever, and I'm worried about the enhancements. I hear the hunting voice in my dreams now." Before Jisoo could answer, Hanbin Lee rushed into the room. His wounds from the battle were still healing, but he moved quickly. "Captain, the long-range sensors have picked up something," he said. "The Maor are back. But they're not attacking, they're waiting." The Maor fleet had taken position just outside the solar system. They didn't move forward. They didn't send messages. They just waited. "What are they doing?" asked a council member. "It's a hunting tactic," said Taeho. "They're trying to wear us down, make us nervous, make us make mistakes." After 3 days of waiting, a message came from the Maor fleet. It was from the Apex, the Maor leader. "Send your best fighter," it said in its rough voice. "1 against 1, to the death. Winner takes all." The council leaders met to discuss this. Many thought it was a trick. Why would the Maor, who had more ships and were stronger, offer a one-on-one fight? "Because they're predators," said Taeho. "To them, the strongest should lead. They don't understand working together the way we do. In their culture, the leader must be the best fighter. So if someone beats their leader, they might actually stop fighting?" asked Narul the Valari. "Maybe," said Taeho. "Or they might get angry and attack anyway. But it's a chance to end this without more deaths." Hanbin stood up. "I'll go. I fought the Apex before, I know its moves." Taeho shook his head. "No, you're still healing, and this is my responsibility. I'll go." "But Captain," started Hanbin. "That's my decision," said Taeho firmly. "We need you here if things go wrong." The next day, a small ship took Taeho to a meeting point between the two fleets. The Maor had chosen a small moon with no air for the fight. Similar ships from both sides would watch from orbit. Taeho wore a space suit with special reinforcements. He carried no weapons. This would be hand-to-hand combat as the Maor had demanded. A Maor ship landed on the other side of the small moon. The Apex stepped out. It was even bigger than Taeho remembered, 9 feet tall, with thick armor-like skin, long claws, and red markings. It wore a simple suit to protect it from space, but its claws stuck through special openings. The two leaders walked toward each other across the dusty surface of the moon. They stopped 10 feet apart. "Human," growled the Apex. "You are a shadow of what you should be. Your kind were meant to rule the stars as hunters, not to make friends with prey." "We chose a different path," said Taeho. "We learned that working together makes us stronger than hunting alone," the Apex snarled. "Words of weakness. Show your strength or die." It attacked without warning, moving with shocking speed. Taeho barely dodged the first swipe of its claws. Even with his enhanced reflexes, the Apex was faster. Taeho had to use the low gravity of the moon to his advantage. He jumped high, coming down behind the Apex. But the Maor was quick to turn. Its claws caught Taeho's suit. tearing the outer layer. The fight was brutal. The apex was stronger and had natural weapons. Tejo had to use his wits and training. He remembered old fighting styles from Earth, ways of using an opponent's strength against them. When the apex lunged, Tejo sidestepped and used the Maor's momentum to throw it off balance. When it slashed with its claws, he blocked with his reinforced arm guards. But Tejo was tiring. The apex seemed to have endless energy. A powerful blow sent Tejo flying across the moon's surface. He landed hard, his suit warning him of damage. Air was leaking slowly. The apex approached, sure of victory. "You fight well for a weak copy," it said, "but you cannot win. It is not in your blood anymore." Tejo got to his feet slowly. He felt the hunting voice inside him growing louder, urging him to give in to rage, to attack wildly. But he pushed it down. That was not his strength. "You're right," said Tejo. "I'm not like you. That's not weakness. That's evolution." The apex charged. This time, instead of dodging, Tejo stood his ground. At the last second, he dropped and swept the apex's legs. The Maor fell hard in the low gravity. Before it could get up, Tejo was on its back, locking, its arms behind it in a hold that even the apex's strength couldn't break. "Kill me," growled the apex. "Take your victory." "No," said Tejo. "That's what you would do. I'm offering something else. Surrender, and no more of your people need to die." The apex struggled, but couldn't break free. Finally, it went still. "The law of the hunt says you have won. What do you want, human?" Tejo released the apex and stepped back, ready if it attacked again. But the Maor leader simply stood up, watching him with strange eyes. "I want to know why you hate us so much," said Tejo. "Why do you call us weak copies? What really happened in the past?" The apex was quiet for a long moment. Then it spoke, its voice less harsh than before. "We were not born. We were made. Created as weapons by the old ones, a species that died out long ago. They took animals from many worlds and changed them, made them smarter, stronger, deadlier. Then they abandoned us." "And Earth?" asked Tejo. "Colony 6? One group of us was left there, the weakest group, the ones who asked too many questions, who wanted more than just to hunt." The apex looked at Tejo. "They were thrown away on that distant world, left to die. Instead, they changed, became you." Tejo felt a strange feeling. Pride, maybe. His ancestors had been the ones who wanted. More who asked why. "We don't have to fight," said Tejo. "Your people can have a place in this galaxy, not as conquerors, but as equals." "Equals with prey?" The apex seemed confused by the idea. "With other thinking beings," said Tejo. "We can help you find a new home. Learn to be more than what you were made to be." Back at the council station, Tejo told everyone what had happened. Some council members didn't trust the Maor. They thought it was a trick, but in the end they agreed to give peace a chance. The Maor were given an empty star system on the edge of council space. Human teachers went there to help them learn new ways of living. Many Maor resisted. Some wanted to keep fighting. But others, especially the younger ones, were curious about another way of life. 1 year later, Tejo visited the new Maor world with Jisoo, Hanbin, and Doyon. The enhancements had finally worn off, returning them to normal humans. It felt strange at first, like losing a sense, but it was also a relief. The hunting voice was gone. The apex met them at a new settlement where Maor were learning to grow food instead of just hunting. Young Maor played games that weren't about killing. Some were even creating art, simple but beautiful carvings. "Your people are adapting well," said Tejo to the apex. "Some," said the apex. "The old ones struggle, but the young ones, they see possibilities we never imagined." They walked to a high point overlooking the settlement. The sun was setting, turning the sky purple. "We found something in the old ones' records," said Doyon. "It turns out humans weren't evolved from the Maor after all. Both our species were made by the same creators, but they abandoned humans earlier in the process, left us on Earth to develop on our own." "So we are not failed Maor," said Tejo. and you are not perfect hunters. We're both victims of the same creators, both trying to find our own path. The apex looked at its claws, then at the settlement below. To be more than what you were made to be, it said slowly, testing the words. This is a new kind of hunt. The most important kind, agreed Tejo. Not for food or territory, but for meaning. As they watched the new world grow dark, stars appeared overhead, the same stars that had seen the birth of both species, that had witnessed their battle and now watched their fragile peace. Every species has predators. Humans had faced theirs. Both the enemies among the stars and the hunting voice within, their own past, they had found a way to use their predator strength while choosing a different path. And maybe, Tejo thought, the Maor could find that path too. Evolution wasn't just about teeth and claws. It was about growing, changing, becoming more than what came before. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, and perhaps in time it would be the Maor's gift too.